Hello, my name is Mrudula and I'll be talking about the quality infrastructure in India. For most of us, the word infrastructure evokes images of railways, bus stands, metros, buildings. But there is another aspect of infrastructure that is invisible to the naked eye, the quality of infrastructure. The quality standards refer to the regulations that are in place, the framework that establishes these standards and ensures that it is implemented and conformed to. Now we will look at how the evolution of quality infrastructure in India has been through the four phases of economic and industrial development. In the first phase between 1947 and 1965, we saw the setting up of state-owned institutions for creating regulations and for departments in metrology testing, export quality, and the creation of technical regulations. In the phase 2, 1965 to 1980, we saw the spread of government support for the production certification and setting up standards in the food and agriculture department. In the phase 3, between 1980 and 1991, we saw the introduction of global standards through automotive tie-ups and also the adoption of quality management systems by the industry. In Faithful, we have been seeing the setting up of national accreditation boards, several standards development organizations, and also foreign certification boards. With the increase in the Indian economy's size and complexity, there is an increase in demand for quality products and services. As India has been integrating itself with the international trade through its Make in India initiative, it has been promoting itself as a global manufacturing hub. Hence, it is essential for us to look after our workers and also our consumers. Also, we need to make sure that our products that are made in India conform with the global standards too. We are trying to understand and align to the international practices and requirements of overseas markets, and in order to strengthen India's competitiveness in quality infrastructure. India is playing a key role both domestically and internationally, but it is fraught with many deficiencies. For instance, many of us bemoan the fact that India has to import most of its electronic goods, but we are aware that some of our standard institutions take many years and months to come up with new certifications, and by this time the technology becomes obsolete and we have lost out in the race. In other cases, businesses struggle to get information about the standards in place in order to get the quality stamp. And domestic standards are not in par with the global standards. We have problem with shipments of Indian exported products being held in EU and US, and this happens because the products have not been conformed to global standards. Sometimes obnoxiously set Indian standards are known to keep the latest laptops and tablets out of the Indian market several months after its global release. It is evident that standards are important to companies, but they are also important to the government and the regulation world. Over the years, standards business has slowly become an industry of its own, with government asking companies to bear the cost of setting standards, accrediting their products in exchange of lesser regulatory burden. For instance, in UK, all widths of the value chain activities, including the creation of the body of standards for setting the testing laboratories, have been privatized. In developing countries like India, the government is needed to step up in all the steps of value chain. Naturally also implies that the value chain is fraught with inefficiencies in India. There are broadly two major standard agencies, the Bureau of Indian Standards and the Quality Control of India, QCI. Both are under the government and are struggling to cope up with the workloads. Within them are a number of accreditation and testing bodies which unfortunately don't communicate much to each other. Normally, it is a conflict of interest anywhere in the world. It's very important that the accreditation agency also is in charge of setting the standards and then enforcing it in India. The relationship between them, it is a bit murky. The standards and quality control are admittedly very technical subjects. However, if India needs to position itself as one of the economy leaders in this new global era, it has to start rethinking its strategy on standards. According to the draft published by the Department of Commerce called as the Indian National Strategy for Standardization, in which it tries to focus on utilizing the current assets to fuel the economic growth of India. It considers the current state of development across sectors, the existing quality infrastructure, and the pollution policy directions in relationship to the domestic economic developments and for trade in goods and services. While some of the goals and related activities can be accomplished over a shorter period of time, it is expected that all elements of the strategy can be undertaken and completed over a 5-year period between 2018 and 2023. It has set up its goals on the basis of new standards, keeping in mind the need of new standard development organizations and also setting up standards that are relevant to the market right now. It also has a conformity assessment which evolves in creating credible, component and robust infrastructure for conformity assessment that stimulates a quality mindset nationwide, including MSMEs too. And the third one, that is technical regulation, securing the highest degree of protection for well-being and the safety of Indian citizens, both consumers and workers. So when it comes to the quality of infrastructure, be it basic infrastructure or industry-wide infrastructure, it is important that it is of the best quality and that will come up with better regulations and frameworks in place. Thank you.